Ladies and gents, welcome to CGX, and this is US military just leaked Operation Sledgehammer for new Iran strikes. This is my channel, obviously, Max Afterburner. This doesn't sound good. If they're giving out a whole another name, it's no longer Epic Fury, now it's Sledgehammer, which means plan is there basically to resume the strikes. So this is no longer like, if will there be strikes? No, it's probably gonna happen if they're renewing the name. Right? China talk happened. I don't know what happened in China thing. Like the talks of like coming out like mixed things, right? Like Trump did talk to Xi Jinping and they did like elbow rub some deal. Another talk is like, you can't trust China, this and that. I don't know what's happening there. But yeah, Sledgehammer thing, that is interesting to me because I'm sure all those cargo planes and things that were flown around in bases and things, restocking things, and now the new name from Pentagon. Yeah, we'll see a few strikes in the future. It's going to be interesting. Let's do this one.
It's May 13th, 2026, and while we were all sleeping, the Pentagon quietly started renaming the next war versus Iran. The Iran ceasefire, if you can still call it that, is officially on.
By the way, reason is 60 days happened, so technically they have to do that, or at least they're trying to do that, so they don't need Congress approval. I don't know.
Life support. President Trump stood in the Oval Office on Monday and described Tehran's latest peace proposal as, quote, a piece of garbage. No uncertain terms there. He didn't even finish reading it, he said. His exact words on whether the ceasefire is still standing was, I would say it's one of the weakest right now. It's on life support. But that's not even the big story today. The big story is what NBC News
Look, man, that's not how ceasefire work. There is no ceasefire. It's either on or not. After all the attacks Iran did, trying to attack US ship itself, what ceasefire?
confirmed last night. The Pentagon is actively discussing renaming the Iran war from Operation Epic Fury to Operation Sledgehammer, specifically if the ceasefire collapses and Trump orders a return to major combat operations. In this video, we'll be breaking down what those operations would actually look like. And the reason for the
You know how they use Lego movies? USA should put out doubly clip of Triple H with a sledgehammer. There you go. I'm pretty sure Triple H is like Trump's like friend, ally, whatever, doubly in general. So that would be fine.
Naming isn't necessarily branding, although it is that as well. It's also legal architecture because a new operation name effectively restarts the 60-day war powers resolution clock. That's debatable, but it gives the administration fresh.
I'm glad he said that because I was about to say that's debatable because they're not sure of that. This first time for everything type of thing is happening right now. So if this is going to fly, again, like I'm pretty sure Congress is more, not more, it's Republican. Trump is Republican. So like where the resistance is going to come from? Democrats cannot put that much of a resistance there. So if they say like, this is technically fine, Congress will be like, yeah, all right, technically fine. There you go.
Runway with Congress to go ahead and finish the job. And while the diplomats are trading insults through back channels, the IRGC Navy just dropped something that should be on every admiral's briefing slide this morning, likely getting briefed on it right now. But a rear admiral from Iran's Navy confirmed on May 12th that Iran has expanded its operational definition of the Strait of Hormuz. And that admiral's name was Akbargazagada. I think I'm saying that right. Pretty sure I got that. Took me like 15 times. But that Navy Rear Admiral explained on May 12th that Iran has expanded its operational definition of the Strait of Hormuz. Not the old 21 nautical mile wide choke point around Hormuz and Hingam Islands, but a full crescent stretching from Jask in the east to Siri Island in the west. That's 200 to 300 nautical miles. 10 times longer than what they had before. So instead of backing down at all and coming to any terms, they're just doubling down on their position of going down with the ship. This is 10 times larger, and we know that a fifth of global oil is still basically sitting in the middle of it, not moving, and then coming up, stay for this.
What are they going to do, man? Because people told me and I suspected that like you can't really turn off the oil wells or whatever. Like you can't stop digging things. It will clog up. Like in my mind that made sense and people confirmed it in comments. So what are they going to do? Like if you have like stockpiles, it's not moving. Like there was like images showing that they were like dumping in the water. You can't do that much. If you do it too much, like that's going to have like a real world effect. which even they would have to worry about. So like, what are you gonna do? Where are you gonna store all this oil?
It's the roundup section. We're going to talk about a lot of different global events. You guys loved this section in the last few videos, so that'll happen about 3/4 of the way through the video. But first, it looks like Operation Sledgehammer isn't just a name. This is now a targeting list potentially, and the airframes and the weapons used is something that we're going to cover in this video. We're going to walk you through exactly what could be on that targeting list and what likely has Iran relatively nervous right now, even though they would never admit that. Because at this point, Operation Epic Fury decimated Iran's naval capability. Now they only have that Mosquito fleet. But what could a sledgehammer do? A sledgehammer could actually hammer some IRGC golden castles while they're sitting on their golden crappers. So stay with me here because we're gonna get into the full operational picture of where we are right now and where likely things will go with this new operation should it take place. And it's worth noting that the US military presence in the region right now is reportedly larger than it was at the start of Operation Epic Fury. Right now there's more and more troops flowing in, a Marine Expeditionary Unit.
This time, I'm pretty sure they didn't do this level last time, but this time they actually like increased the stockpile and everything. There was a lot of cargo planes going in and out around bases and like refueling and like so proper stockpiles of. I guess like first time they thought like maybe a few weeks of bombing and Iran will basically capitulate. If we destroy most of the thing, of course they're going to capitulate. That didn't happen. So this time I think America is like bracing for longer one. Like, okay, let's restock at a level that are multiple weeks, multiple months, at least couple of months, it should be fine. I'm pretty sure they are restocking that way.
2 carrier strike groups, and likely a couple hundred U.S. Air Force fighter jets that are deployed strategically around the region. We're talking F-35s, F-15Es, we're talking F-16CJs. Those are the jets that go in and act like bait should the conflict kick back off. They're like, hey, shoot at me, and they take the fire to determine where the surface-to-air missiles are. I mean, the cojones on these men and women that are flying these things just can't be overstated. It's just incredible the things that they're up to, and especially going out and picking up what's called electronic data from the different surface-to-air missile sites, and then you pass that to other jets, or these CJs can drop on it themselves. And right now, we're seeing that this could kick off if we see this ceasefire actually fully crumble. But it kind of seems like a non-ceasefire ceasefire. It's kind of like at this point we're dealing with fat-free ice cream where everybody knows it's just packed with sugar and it doesn't even really taste that good, but it makes someone out there feel good that there's no fat. They're like, yeah, there's no fat, but you're gonna have diabetes at the end of that pint of ice cream. Because at this
Okay, he brought a really good point. Like even I was thinking about recently, like whole this new age healthy thing. Now I know about health, obviously. People usually like really misunderstand what health means. They villainize fat completely, which is not a good thing. Fat is really dense thing, like has like 2.2 times calorie than protein or carbs. But at the same time, you need them at certain amount. Now, yes, it's not really good if you eat too many ice cream. Fat accumulates, that's this calorie. It's going to be a problem. But what is the point of eating fat-free ice cream? Like fat is what it like. It makes you, like the ice cream feel usually is from fat, right? So what is even the point of doing that? It's just like sugar and like slim milk. That's just weird. Like if that's the case, like have some kind of like a like milkshake or something. Ice cream is just weird. So at certain point, like you're doing these things which is still giving you calories. You're still not liking it because it's not like ice cream. At that point, don't even eat that. Like find something else. Find something completely different to eat. Because that's just insane to me. You're not having good time. On top of that, you're still eating calories. Less, but still there.
Point, it's almost as if both sides are just taking the gloves off and preparing for more conflict because of what we've seen happen over the last week. I mean, Iran's been launching attacks at UAE. They've also been launching attacks at Kuwait. And then UAE even struck back. And now it looks like they're not coming to the table at all. So what was Iran doing? It looks like they were buying time. But what were they buying time for? Well, they're saying they want the blockade lifted, sanctions relief. They want to continue uranium enrichment, president writes, so what are they rushing to get done right now during this supposed ceasefire, non-ceasefire, basically sitting there launching at their Gulf neighbors? I mean, at this point, this is a soft war if we've ever seen one. And
that is a scary element. Like, what if they have something cooking, let's just say, and something devastating happen because they were buying time for that specific thing, dirty bomb or something, I don't know. Like, imagination goes all over the place, which is like a scary thing. It's not best to do that because what if doesn't really matter at this level. But that is like, you have to think about, like, Iran like is keep getting bombed. Like, they are not, backing down even a bit. So what are they planning? That you have to think that, like, what is in their mind? Like, what are they going to do? They know America's going to attack now. So what are they going to do? Just like, okay, I guess they're going to attack? Or were they planning for something? I don't know.
And potentially Operation Sledgehammer would come in to try to get the job done. But Pakistan has also positioned itself as the primary mediator, hosting the highest level US-Iran talks since 1979. However, they're now facing credibility questions. Weird. Credibility with Pakistan. I'm sure it was just a coincidence, Pakistan, that Osama bin Laden happened to be there and we needed to do a secret operation to go in and get him. And we didn't want to tell anybody in Pakistan because we knew he'd be tipped off and then would leave. Weird. I'm sure Pakistan just wants to help him out. I'm sure Pakistan's just being a good neighbor helping out Osama bin Laden, right? Well, the plot thickens because now we're seeing confirmed satellite imagery of an Iran.
Yeah. See, there you go. Is it really a surprise that, look, biggest terror sponsor is Iran. Pakistan is not that far away though. Right? That's the whole reason behind India-Pakistan conflicts in the recent times. Terror attacks in India and a terror organization basically being treated as like Pakistani military. When terrorists, known terrorists, which are registered in this like international, like, like CIA and all these registries, but these are the terrorists most wanted. Those people, when they died, Pakistani military went them and gave them military like funeral. They can't, there is a proof of that, like point blank proof. It's not even he said, she said. You can see it. Videos, photos, everything. So like, isn't that on the nose? Like, is there anything left now? They're literally treating known terrorists as like a military people. So yeah, Iran is the biggest state sponsor of terror. Great. Pakistan is also close. So is this really surprising?
Iranian Air Force RC-130. So this is a C-130 they got back in the day from the US that is a reconnaissance platform. Basically sniffs and collects electronic information, goes out and does reconnaissance. So what are they up to with this RC-130 being protected in Pakistan? So it's confirmed this aircraft itself is an intelligence gathering variant of the C-130, the RC-130. And right now, with this satellite imagery we're looking at right here, we're seeing that it's
What kind of a tech does that plane even have if it's that old? Before the Islamic Revolution, they get that, like, I get it, like back then, but still compared to today, like RC-130s and all that RC planes that our US have now are probably modified and more modern with current chipset. Most major countries, when they have some spy thing, there's like current chipset and current things. This is from like what, 1970 something? Like, what kind of a, like, does that even mean anything? Is that even good? That's what I'm asking.
Parked at Nur Khan Air Base near Islamabad. That's 10 kilometers from Pakistan's capital. That'd be pretty funny if it's literally sitting in the old compound where Osama bin Laden was. It's just sitting there, and they're like, yeah, no one's going to look here, right? We already got Osama bin Laden from here, so we're just going to park this secret C-130 from Iran right here. It's kind of like that friend that's not really a friend, that you're like, yeah, I don't want them to know they're not a friend because they're a little creepy and sketchy and you don't know what they're going to do. They're a little bit unpredictable. That's kind of how I see Pakistan. Pakistan, that's not exactly a compliment, but hey, it's not exactly an insult either. But the ceasefire still exists on paper. The blockade is active, but right now the diplomatic track looks fully frozen with what President Trump said right from the Oval Office in no uncertain terms. And now the Pentagon war, gaming for what comes next. What does come next? Well, we're going to get into that in a second. But speaking of war, it's pretty interesting how Iran is claiming they've already won the war. They're basically like sitting there at the bottom of the Persian Gulf in their fast attack boat.
Something that Pakistan was doing as well. See, it just tracks. It's like, it's very hard to know which is which at certain times. If you just see statements of these countries, you could easily mistake Pakistan for Iran, Iran for Pakistan, the way they work. From ARMA footages to AI images, oh, we already won, and doing all this shit. I mean, come on.
Boats, and they're like, we won, guys, congratulations, yay, let's celebrate with a delicious tuna. Oh yeah, this is awesome. But we know that Iran is losing $500 million a day, which is wild. So obviously there's some different definitions of success right now, and Iran is trying to show strength with what they have, and that is basically 0 cards left besides their Mosquito fleet and their ability to threaten the Strait with 500 to 1,000 of those fast attack boats. But now let's talk about their full capability, because we can't underestimate, and then we have to know how the actual kill chain would work if the conflict kicks back off. So Sun Tzu says, first, know your enemy, and also know yourself. You guys know I love Sun Tzu, and I can't help but bring him up pretty much every video. But he says, in 100 battles, you will never be in peril if you know your...
Sun Tzu said to my fellow Chinese people, do not befriend Iran. What is wrong with you? You're gonna get screwed. No oil for you.
your
Yeah.
enemy, and you know yourself.
Why is China not going to Russia and like give us oil? If like what 70-80% of like oil is kind of from Iran, so they can substitute with Russia. Russia does need money. They must have done that, right? Like without anyone knowing. I don't know.
So to know our enemy, we've covered this a little bit, but we know that Iran is now leaning on the IRGC's Navy. That's the number one thing they're leaning on. And the reason why they created the IRGC was because they felt like, the Ayatollah felt like he couldn't trust Artesh. That's the normal army in Iran. That's the place where General Salami is said to be being the bridge between the normal army and the IRGC. He's kind of in the middle between two delicious sourdough loaves. But the IRGC is going to lean very heavily on the Ayatollah.
I was assumed because they didn't want to worry with normal things and common people. That's why they created IRGC solely so IRGC can do their IRGC related thing, like religious things, right? Ayatollah is the supreme leader, religious leader, and that's the biggest thing in the country, like biggest power. Religion, Ayatollah, supreme leader, that's the main power, right? So IRGC is supposed to do everything around that, protect that, enact whatever they want, right? While common military do common thing for common people. If one military does all these things, now, supreme leader and his, like whole team has to worry about everyday people and every small thing. So they split that because of it. That's what I thought, right? Because I don't understand, like, okay, he didn't trust the normal military, so he created a new one. Okay, so how do you not know the new one might get corrupted as well? Isn't that better to just keep one military and make sure your people and that you trust is in it? So to me, that feels weird. I always assumed it's because it is very specific, just for specific things. And, like supreme leader, and none of them wanted to like really, like worry about or care about everyday things. So common military does common military things.
Ayatollah class to direct them. They're probably still getting information from behind the scenes. They're basically the puppet of the Ayatollah class, and now they're focusing on the IRGC Navy. The IRGC Navy is basically the last vestige, the last hope that Iran has of holding on to control over the Strait of Hormuz. But their maritime strategy has always been asymmetric. Deny access to waterways it can't control conventionally with these fast attack craft. We've also seen images reportedly of these fast attack craft getting near the carrier. That's probably not a good life extension strategy.
Is this real? This can't be real. That isn't just close. That is insanely close. That is so close that Seavis is like probably like ready to attack. How did aircraft carrier let them that close? Where are the destroyers? Are these the destroyers? How are they even close to the carrier group? If any boats come close to the carrier group, blow them up. It's about security. Warn them like don't come close. I don't care who has right or whatever. I don't care which water we are. Right now we are here, you don't come close. The end. I have the power, you don't. That should have been the case. How did this even happen? This is insane to me. That's way too close, man.
Strategy for Iran to get these fast attack craft anywhere near the aircraft carrier. It looks kind of close on the map, but you got to think these things are unpredictable. They could be loaded with explosives. They could be remote control, so that Iran is just basically using them as suicide boats. So these are things that the US Navy, the US Air Force, Army, Marines in the area all have to look out for. But Rear Admiral Mohammed Abagazara, Deputy Political Director of the IRGC Navy, publicly confirmed the expansion on May 12th. His biography, Aga Pazara, Aga not gonna work here anymore. He's a career...
Again, what if one of those boats had like anti-ship missiles? If they shoot it from there, you don't have much of a response time to defend against. What are you doing, man? Somebody really comment down. This is like blowing my mind. How are they that close? That's insane.
IRGC naval officer. He's a military commander first, and now he's entering some sort of political class involved with the military. But what Iran actually has left after Operation Epic Fury is essentially degraded from a massive naval capability perspective. And now they're just going to lean on those fast attack craft that we've seen. We've seen them position these fast attack craft all around every port they can get them into, because remember, all their ports are dual use, so ideally they want to get these close to a carrier.
Is that Iranian guys recording and saying all these things? That's something. It takes balls to say these things, because what if IRGC gets hold of you and like, did you say all these things?
Close to a destroyer and use that NOR 802 missile, that Chinese derivative, to try to hit one of the naval assets in the area. That would be a huge win for them. And then drone swarms along the coast is likely what they're doing as well. However, with Operation Sledgehammer, what we might see happen are more and more of the bunker buster bombs dropped along the coast. CENTCOM actually released an image of a
Makes
B-1
sense.
that was doing training missions just a couple days ago, and that would be a prime platform to carry those 5,000 pound GBU 72s. The Strike Eagle can also carry those as well. 5,000 pounds of bunker busting, crowd pleasing, always a crowd pleaser seeing that thing hit, and that would go in and strike the different underground drone systems that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy is potentially hiding underground right there. Because Iran expanding the Strait of Hormuz by 10 times, brilliant, but they didn't just expand their power, they essentially expanded the B-1 and the F-15E's target list. But now you made it to the global roundup. So this is what's going on around the globe, and this will bring us all in to exactly what's happening from a military, a geopolitical perspective. So let's dive right in. France is preparing to deploy Tiger attack helicopters aboard naval frigates near the Strait of Hormuz, following their proven effectiveness against Iranian drones during UAE-based tests in March. French Navy Admiral Thibault de Passesse confirmed the Tiger's 30mm cannon and 20 rocket pods made it truly effective and a powerful deterrent against the drone threat. So French officials say it creates a low-cost defensive layer that existing naval air defenses weren't designed to provide. So even though France is showing up to the barbecue at 10:45 p.m., the grill's a little cold, the conflict has been going on for a few months, it looks like they actually brought some filet mignons with these attack helicopters. So it's great to see that they're stepping in and putting some actual hard kinetic force behind stopping the drone threat and actually acknowledging that Iran is not their friend. And then the next story, President Trump arrived in Beijing today for a 36-hour summit with Chinese President Xi Jinping, accompanied by a delegation that included a massive amount of CEOs, Elon Musk, people like Tim Cook of Apple, and the who's who of Wall Street's industrial CEOs, including Larry Fink, Boeing's Kelly Ortberg. The agenda likely covers trade, AI export controls, Taiwan, and obviously the Iran war. It looks like President Trump is saying that the US doesn't need any help from China with the war, but ideally, China doesn't send in any
I don't get what message Trump is trying to do here by bringing all these AI people with them. Is he saying to China, let's do business? But that's not possible because your own national security team has blocked a lot of Chinese things. Not to mention blocked NVIDIA themselves to sell certain things, implying like we don't trust anything China and we don't want anything China in this way. So there is no security risk type of way. At the same time, you can't just say like, okay, let's do business, let's do something together. So there's a friction there that I think, like people have to like figure out how to do it. I don't know. Because I'm pretty sure like all the businessmen, like top businessmen, mostly AI people, I think, went there. Or is it like to put factories in China? Again, how would that work? Like how would there's like a national security trust issue right now that's going on, because whole like the security thing, is it NSA? I don't know. It's the Pentagon. Let's just say Pentagon has blocked a lot of things. We even blocked Nvidia to sell certain things. Created a specific Nvidia chip, which China's like, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna buy it or not. Type of, I don't know what's happening.
Electro-optical seekers, or continue to provide Iran with any high-resolution imagery should the conflict kick back off. But the U.S. obviously has just sent an arms deal to Taiwan, I believe about $25 billion worth of weapons going to Taiwan. So that's obviously going to be on the agenda as well, with probably a little bit of tension between Xi and Trump, even though they do have a lot to gain in this business sense. If they can open up China and become closer with China, closer ties, and then maybe, who knows, maybe there'll be a deal struck with selling some oil to China. I mean, we buy so much from China, and China refuses to buy oil from us. They don't want to be dependent on America. Meanwhile, we're dependent on China for pretty much everything else. So that's got to shift and that's got to change. So it's refreshing. Maybe there will be some cracks forming and actually some shifts made in that strategy. Oh, and then this just happened. The Air Force awarded Boeing a contract exceeding $100 million to restock more GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator bunker buster bombs. That's the 30,000-pound weapon that's used by the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber, and that was used against Iran's hardened nuclear facilities during Operation Midnight Hammer in June of 2025. So now Operation Sledgehammer, could it include some of these massive ordnance penetrators? It's very interesting that we're seeing this contract come in to replenish them right now, just as we're hearing that there could be this new operation dropping from the Pentagon. So the translation here, US is restocking the specific weapon that goes up against Iran's hardened underground sites. And it's kind of like, yeah, these underground sites, we know they're there. We know they have tons of drones. We know they have ballistic missiles, and it might be time for all of those to go bye-bye. But you have to remember that Iran has also built false bunkers to make the U.S. think they're bunkers, to make the U.S. think there's nuclear operations going on there, to try to get the U.S. to waste these massive bombs, because these things aren't cheap and they're very hard to build. So Iran knows that. So they want to build fake bunkers around their entire country in hopes that the U.S. would.
Yeah, but US has a lot of satellite space force. Wouldn't they be able to like see if there is any activity around these bunkers? Because they must have like multiple months of data. Like, did anything go in and out? If no, then it's probably a fake bunker.
Waste some of these weapons there. So if there were deep strikes on hardened targets, this is likely how it would go down. Missile production facilities, nuclear related sites, command nodes, some of the areas around the Strait of Hormuz that are being used to command and control the fast attack boat swarms to mine the area, those would likely be taken out first, and likely a 5,000-pound GBU-72 would be the focus of that. Crushing that whole area around the Strait of Hormuz would likely be the focus. The RC-135 is also an aircraft that will likely be up there detecting threats, pumping and passing information to fighters, to bombers, to try to take down command nodes. That RC-135 is something that we saw operating around Venezuela just prior to the Venezuela operation going down. And that brings us to the 40 chess strategic analysis section. So let's be clear about what both sides are doing here, because this isn't just about the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's play is time. They want to tap along the world and build time. Their 5-point counter proposal, reparations, all the different sanctions lifted, enrichment rights preserved, don't even have to talk about it, was never designed to be accepted. They knew it wouldn't be accepted. It was designed to be rejected, but they knew that, and they needed that time to buy weeks without getting bombed, keep the remaining assets alive, and let the global economic pain from the Hormuz chaos pressure Washington and its allies. They think it's going to pressure the Trump administration because the midterms are coming up and gas prices need to come down. So Iran is thinking if they can tap this along long enough, then the U.S. will just have to leave in order to win the midterms. They want time. They want to build up their stockpiles. We don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but they're betting that they can outlast American political will. But we know they're losing $500 million every single day, and that is hurting them right where it counts, hurting the mafia bosses in their pocketbook. But if Operation Sledgehammer launches, it will likely live up to this name, with B-2 Spirits delivering GBU-57s, B-1s delivering those GBU-72s alongside the F-15 F-15E. Those are those 5,000-pound bunker busters for maximum payload strikes on next tier hardened targets. So what do you think happens over the next 3 or 4 days? Would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, as far as what happens in next 3 or 4 days, again, I don't know. 4 days is nowadays 4 days is not that much of a time, so maybe nothing. But to me, it feels like this sledgehammer thing. Yeah, something will happen. However slow things progress, something will happen. And as far as China-US thing, again, this is one of those things like I don't know. Is it just one of those pissing contests where like nothing happens, like nobody cares, and US doesn't trust China. China never wanted to do anything with US anyway. Like what happens, I don't know. Or optimistically, maybe China and China US does have a certain deal. China does put pressure on Iran, and maybe something happens. Who knows? It feels like a stalemate at this point. Like things are not moving. Well, that's how usually things go in real world. This is not like, oh, let's just get this done. That's not how anything works, at least at this scale. So who knows what's going to happen next, but I guess something will, because USA is not going to spend the money and do sledgehammer and like refuel things and just sit on it. So I don't know, something will happen. All right, if you like my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.